Hello everyone, welcome back to Kiran's English Hub. So we're continuing with the summaries of 8th class English, and in this video I will be teaching you the Unit 5 Reading C, which is they literally build the nation. So this is Reading C. So as you can see here, Reading A and B, so together they are a single lesson, but that is divided into two parts. So if you watch those Reading A and B, so it is going to be easier for you when you watch this video of Reading C. So this whole unit is about education and career. So most importantly, it focuses on the civil engineers and the architects. Okay, so we shall quickly get into this lesson here. So as you see the title here, they literally build the nation. So it is completely about the civil engineers who built many major projects and many more things, not only just projects, many buildings, important structures. Okay, all these, whatever the buildings and the architects that are related to the civil engineering. Okay, so in this we will be looking at some of their types, their works, how do they do it, and how do they usually go through the procedure and all, what are the things that they have to do and all. Okay, so they literally build the nation. So they here in the sense the civil engineers. Okay, so without civil engineering, or without civil engineers, we cannot imagine our cities, our surroundings. Okay, it's true, because without them there would be no proper planning for any building or any other construction, bridges, roads, whatever that is. Okay, so they are one of the major like parts for the developing countries. Okay, so in this we will be going through the life cycle of these civil engineers and all, their job profession, and the things that they usually do. Okay, so civil engineering is one of the oldest disciplines of engineering. So in engineering, of course, there are many branches, and civil engineering is one of those branches. Okay, so this is one of the oldest discipline. Like like by year and year, some of the new curriculums along with the new disciplines have been had added to engineering. But previously engineering started with only few of the subjects. One of them is civil engineering, later one electrical, okay, computer science. Only some of the major disciplines were there in engineering. So one among them, and the oldest one of those oldest principles is civil engineering. Okay, so it involves the design, construction, and management of infrastructure, highways, railways, airports, harbors, bridges, tunnels, ensuring supply of high quality water, among others, and hence the term used in a very broad sense. So, civil engineering, we cannot just you know give a single sentence or a single words for single word, any single word for this particular title, job title definition. Okay, so it completely involves the design, construction, and also the management together. Okay, so these three processes are being done in the civil engineering. So they do many things like building highways, railways, airports, harbors, bridges, tunnels, many things. Okay, so they ensure that nothing goes wrong, all the water facility must be good, no power cut, okay, nothing. So this is how they usually go with all, not only just with the design, but with every type of things that are related to that particular project. So it may not be an exaggeration to state that almost every major project has a contribution from a civil engineer. So like if you take any minor or major project by any private like dealer, or any government project, whatever that is, a civil engineer will be there particularly to to plan it, to overlook it, and to take it successfully and to complete it successfully. Okay, so it is not just an exaggeration to state it. Okay, because each and every project almost they need a civil engineer for a particular and proper planning. So the role of civil engineer has been continuously changing. So at first it was only little bit, the role of the civil engineer was not very much, but it started to change and change as the days are passing by. So earlier, civil engineers would focus their efforts on production of site plans, crank out drawings, turn them over to contractors, and pretty much be done with it. But things are much more sophisticated these days. Okay, so previously, like some of the years ago, so they used to just draw some of the site plans. They just put that on the drawings and they just give that to contractors. That's it. That was very simple, right? But it has been continuously changing. The role of the constructors, the civil engineers, has been continuously changing. Okay, not only just simply drawing and giving that drawings to the constructor, but it has been changing very rapidly. And here you can see these two very simple pictures, which is a flyover, and on the left side which is a metro. So without the plan and procedure of civil engineer, you cannot even imagine these things, right? So development of landscape today requires thoughtful planning and an understanding of regulations. Permit requirements are more strained and more numerous. Schedules are constrained and owners are mindful of their expenditures. So previously it was only drawing and planning, that's it. But as the days are passing by, the civil engineers have to completely focus on all planning and the regulations of the government, and they have to cope up with all the things which are related to expenditure. They have to cut the the extra expenditures. That's what the private owners want from the civil engineers. Okay, the plan must be very good and it must be cheap. It must be completed at very cheap price. Okay, so this is how, like, cheap and best. Okay, so the civil engineer role has been completely focused on these particular saying, like cheap and best. So all their owners of the people who bring these civil engineers into that particular course of plan, they want these people to keep their expenses very low and build it very strong, okay, with a beautiful design. So civil engineers today are expected to stay with the clients and guide them through the approval and construction process while offering strategy, advice, and their experience. So previously it was just like civil engineer, if the site is ready, he used to just go there, he watches, evaluates, he just plans and gives some designs to the constructor. That's it, he leaves. But nowadays the civil engineers, they are expected to stay with the clients. If any client has reserved or booked some civil engineer, the civil engineer has to stay with the client and he has to guide him through all the approval from the government and also to the construction process. While the civil engineer has to offer everything, like all the strategy, he has to give some advices and he has to use his experience to complete all this. Okay, not like olden days. So civil engineers are multi-faced, taking on roles and responsibilities that are varied. So they not only just focus on drawing and planning, they started to get so many responsibilities. Civil engineers started to get responsibilities and rules. Okay, let us see what are they. Environmental civil engineers focus on all-round development of design and construction, skill of working in harmony with nature. So there is a title for separate engineers who completely focus on the construction along with the harmony with nature. Okay, so they have to construct something, but there must not be much damage to the nature. So these environmental civil engineers, they know how to do it. Okay, so these environmental engineers are taken into this proper work to give that type of plans. So with the focus on environmental issues such as wastewater and sewage disposal, engineers operate as guardians of nature. So these disposal engineers, okay, sewage disposal engineers, they work with this type of drainage systems, okay, like huge pipes and all. So they don't want to give some much damage to all these cables and different water facilities that were previously there. Okay, so these engineers, they operate as the guardians of nature, though. So they don't destroy the nature, they take care of the nature, and along with that they also build the proper site, the proper complete work. Next, structural engineers are responsible for design buildings, offshore oil platforms, etc. Structural engineers, so they all focus on these designing buildings, offshore oil platforms. Okay, so the procedure, like if anything goes wrong in the matter of buildings or in the matter of oil platforms, then it is going to be a huge damage. If you cannot bring environmental engineer, civil engineer to this particular place here to build a building. Okay, so completely they are started to play different variant roles. Okay, the branches in civil engineering have been expanding like this. Highway engineers are responsible for design of traffic flow planning, roadway geometry design, etc. So the engineers who have experience with this type of traffic flow of planning, like you need not to build like the roads very narrowly. Like if you build very narrow roads on the highways, then that is not going to work out. Okay, and if you build very huge roads just like highways in the city centers, then that is not also is not going to work out. So these highway engineers, they know particularly where to build what type of, or where to construct what type of roads. Okay, so they plan for this traffic flow, okay, for all the vehicles and all. And they have this idea of roadway geometry. Okay, they focus on the different ways. Okay, they give proper planning, and they say that in this particular way only the highway must be built. Okay, this must be the road, this much this width must be required here. So these all planning must will be carried on by the highway engineers. So we can see these different titles for the different civil engineers here. Okay, so this is how the branches of civil engineering have been expanding. So structural engineers are involved in the design of small residential buildings, multi-storied buildings, microwave towers, transmission lines for electricity, and pipelines for water, oil and gas supply. So these structural engineers, so we have seen um, in the previous let reading A and reading B, the treasure within. So there we have seen Mr. Hafiz Contractor. He is a structural engineer. He gives designs for residential buildings, multi-storied buildings and all. Okay, so like individual buildings and apartments both. Okay, so we can call him as structural engineer. Okay, so they also focus on towers, different building of towers, like transmission lines for electricity, pipelines, water, okay, oil and gas supply, all this. Okay, next, construction engineers plan and coordinate construction projects. They may have a job title as contract constructor, construction superintendent, general superintendent, project engineer, etc. So construction engineers, like you can just have the look at this construction here, a big huge dam. So they have different titles. Okay, as we can see here. So they coordinate with all these people and they complete the project. Okay, so without the role of civil engineer in this type of huge projects, nobody can involve, nobody can just start the work. Okay, a proper planning, design and expenditure plannings, estimation, everything must be planned by the civil engineer and finally submitted to the authority person, whoever that is available. And when it gets approved, only the work will be started. So we can know that civil engineer is the important main person who just has to plan perfectly for this type of huge constructions. Construction managers evaluate and determine appropriate construction methods and the most cost effective plan and schedule. So these construction managers, okay, construction manager in the sense like civil engineer only. So they also have to plan, like evaluate, they have to evaluate whatever the cost that is needed for this, and they have to determine proper appropriate construction methods. Okay, construction methods in the sense like one for example, dam will need a separate type of construction method, and building is needed a separate type of construction method. So methods are different usually, like the materials procedure of building is different. Okay, so that's why these civil engineers also give this type of proper construction methods, and they have to plan for the most cost effective plan and schedule. So as I told you before, they are into the role of giving the plans with the cheap and best quality, like with the best buildings. Okay, so this is how they plan on the most cost effective structures also. So this may require sophisticated estimating and schedule techniques. So without proper estimation and scheduling techniques, civil engineers cannot do it. So we can just imagine how knowledgeable or how intelligent they are. Construction managers regularly review engineering and architectural drawings and specifications to monitor progress and ensure compliance with plans and schedules. So nowadays construction managers, these civil engineers, what do? They don't just sit in their room and watch movies. Okay, so they have to be on the site. They go to the site, they have all their drawings and plans with them. They continuously they monitor each and every movement that is being built, each and every pillar that is being built in the site. Okay, so this is how they have to continuously monitor the progress. They have to be on the site, they have to do this much of hard work. Then only we will be having a beautiful building, or any beautiful house or individual apartments and all. Okay, and thus it would be advisable for students to undergo practical industry experience through internships, cooperative education programs, or work experience in the history. So the students who are planning to become civil engineers, they should not directly or need not directly or must not directly get into this profession. So this profession needs a lot of practical knowledge, a lot of practical experience. So that's why they have to undergo these type of internships, cooperative education programs, or work experience in any industry. Like they have to work under some experienced civil engineer, and later they can directly work on themselves. So another key discipline is quantity surveying. Technical skills acquired in areas of estimating, costing, and specification, together with good knowledge of various procurement routes, tendering procedure, and constructing essentials, make quantity surveyors on an inseparable part of the construction industry. So these quantity surveying in the sense how much money is needed, how many members are needed to complete this work, how many days it will be needed, what are the materials, like how much quantity of materials. Okay, procurement in the sense the materials that usually needed, okay, to build anything. Okay, so this type of quantity surveying, okay, all the like hard material, the material that is needed, people, the workmen that are needed, okay, all these quantity surveying is also being undertaken by this some of the quality engineers, like quality surveying engineers, who are also uh, the civil engineers. Okay, so job opportunities exist in design offices, consulting firms, government departments such as municipalities, environmental agencies, as well with contracting firms. So those who want to get jobs in this, they can, after completing their studies in this field, they can approach these design offices, consulting firms, municipalities, okay, municipality government municipality offices, and environmental agencies, and there they have the requirement for the civil engineers. Okay, so this is written by SS Rao. So this is an article published in the Hindu paper on 20th August 2012. Okay, this is it for this video. So we have glossary here: disciplines, the subject of study; exaggeration and overstatement, sophisticated, advanced, and complicated in the way of the work; stringent, strict; client, customer; multifaceted, having many faces or branches; offshore, at a distance from the seashore; complaints, conformity in fulfilling official requirements; internship training to gain practical experience, procurement, obtaining the required material. Okay, so these are the vocabularies, glossaries for this reading. And I also told the TET-DSC aspirants to pick out these glossaries for your examination, because the grammar part, which is synonyms and antonyms, they completely focus on the words which are from the textbook. Okay, so better you collect all these grammar glossary and prepare well for your exam. Okay, so that's it for this video. And in the next video I'll be teaching you unit 6 reading A, that is the story of Ikat. Okay, so see you all in that video. Before leaving the video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click on the bell icon so that you will get the notification when I upload the next video. So see you all. God bless you. Take care.